This week on Security Weekly, we interview Jon Searles and Will Genovese, founders of the NESIT hackerspace and organizers of Bsides Connecticut. In listener feedback this week, we'll answer the question, should you implement your own crypto? Security news this week will uncover password breaches galore, Facebook listening to your conversations. Also, congrats, you got a new laptop, and a boatload of vulnerabilities out of the box. And the information security dream. All that and more. So stay tuned. This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where exploits run wild, packets aren't the only things getting sniffed, and the cocktails flow steady. It's Paul's Security Weekly. Security Weekly is brought to you by the SANS Institute, the most trusted source for computer security training, certification, and research. Visit SANS.org to explore the full curriculum and latest training offerings. Onapsis, the leading provider of solutions to protect ERP systems from cyber attacks. Customers can secure their SAP and Oracle business critical platforms from espionage, sabotage, and financial fraud risks. Visit them on the web at onapsis.com. Pony Express. Check out their line of penetration testing devices, including the Pwn Pad, the Pwn Phone, and the Pwn Pro. For enterprises, there's Pwn Pulse, providing continuous visibility into wired, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth spectrums across all physical locations, including remote sites and branch offices. For all those hard-to-reach places, there's Pony Express. Visit them on the web at ponyexpress.com.
And here's your host. He's a man that dances horribly and shaved the prison pussy off his face. Paul Asadorian.
Welcome, everyone, to Security Weekly. I'm, of course, your host, Paul Asadorian. This is episode 467. It is June 2nd, 2016. We are, in fact, broadcasting live from the bar set here in G-Unit Studios in lovely Rhode Island. I'm joined in studio by my illustrious host, Mr. Larry Pesci.
Thank you very much.
Here.
Yay.
Wonderful, Larry, to have you here. And we decided to do it from the bar.
Exactly.
Why not?
Because we can.
Because we can. On the lines via Skype, Mr. Joff Thayer has joined us. Welcome, Joff.
Well, that's a lovely looking bar. How festive.
Yes, you like the lights.
Good evening, gentlemen.
And Joff, you're broadcasting live from, like, off-grid.
I'm broadcasting live from, off-grid, literally. Got a mega thunderstorm going on, but I am running completely green off of my solar panels and my battery pack. So I am happy. The lights might go out, but my system will stay good.
It's all right. We didn't see anyway. Mr. Michael Santarcangelo has joined us.
I was classing up this week. Look, I put a globe behind me because I thought, hey, that would look really nice. And then you guys going up it with a backlit bar.
And the funny part is head and the globe are equally as shiny.
And round, shiny and round.
I was about to say, what globe? We saw a globe already.
Now there's two globes, but your globe doesn't have bourbon, so.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. CloudSecurityWorld.misty.com. Make sure you go there and check out that conference. Andrew Hay, Chris Valesic will be presenting as June 14th through the 15th at the Omni Parker House Hotel in Boston. That's right, where they park the car in the yard. You can go there, CloudSecurityWorld.misty.com. I wanted to make a note about the feeds. I did update. So first, I apologize about the messiness of the feeds. I swear it was not our fault. We were checking through logs.
Growing pains.
One problem, I didn't even tell you about this. Like, the feed just got, the only way I can describe it is totally effed up. I like got in one
Around
morning.
here? No.
I got in one morning and I like looked and I'm like, there's like stuff missing, stuff at a different date. I'm like, what is going on? And I was like sending angry emails to Mark and I'm like, wait a minute. Mark, I didn't hit send because like Mark would have to really try to screw it up this bad. Like when you delete something from the feed, it asks you like 5 times, like, are you sure?
You want to delete this? Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm like, what happened? And so I don't know what happened. We're working on fixing that. Also, the feed that everyone knows and loves has always had Hack Naked TV and now has Enterprise Security Weekly. And it's messed up right now because we're trying to get caught up. But there will only be 4 updates to that feed a week. So you can subscribe to that, the same feed always, and subscribe to get all the shows. I then broke out every single show, including this one, into its own feed. So if you go to securityweekly.com/subscribe, you can get it however you want it. You want everything in one feed, you want individual feeds, you can pick and choose.
You can have it your way.
You can have it your way. Yep. securityweekly.com/subscribe. I want to thank everyone for the positive feedback on all the shows, Hack Naked TV, and especially Enterprise Security Weekly. We've gotten fantastic feedback on that show. People like it.
I'm totally jealous.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
You want to do another show? I mean, this is what I do. I do podcasts. We can do a show. We can do another show. Just do more shows, dude. It's fine.
The only thing is that I want to do the one where the bar is involved.
Yes, yes.
So I actually came up with another show the other day. I was sitting around drinking, imagine that, with a couple of Scottish friends of mine, and we were cracking jokes, and I'm like, hey, here's a podcast. 2 Scots and an Aussie. Yeah, I don't know how far that would go. But anyway.
I think that's about as far as it...
Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty much...
further than we expected.
Yeah,
yes.
Anyway.
I think it's already gone further than we expected. Well, I'm picking on Joff tonight. I don't know why.
That's what she said.
We're a legend in our own minds. That's for sure.
Yes.
So,
our feature interview for this evening, Jon Searles and Will Genovese join us from Bsides Connecticut and NESIT, and they will be here they are here to describe all of that for you. Will, I have a bio here for you, which I'll read very briefly. As I said, you are the co-founder of NESIT and Bsides Connecticut and a principal security consultant even, doing red team, penetration tests, vulnerability assessments, and compliance audits. Will has spoken at DEF CON, XCON, and Bsides. We welcome Will to the show.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Jon Searles, I have you listed as Bsides Connecticut organizer, but I know you do more than that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm a vice president, security operations center manager for a mid-sized regional bank.
There you go.
Yeah, I spent about 13 years in point-of-sale IT systems for fast food, grocery stores, that kind of good stuff. And
I'm sorry.
I had something else cashing.
So I have a quick question for John. Is he actually in a bathroom talking to us? Because it sure sounds
I'm in
like that.
a hallway of NESIT right now.
I gotcha.
A hallway that leads to the bathroom, I think.
It actually does. It's this really spooky hallway. You go down there at night, and it totally looks like Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
Which is an awesome place to have a bathroom.
So, Will, I'll start with you. How did you get your start in information security?
Let's see. When I first got my computer back in I'd say 99, got on AOL, and the first thing you do is hit up the chat rooms where you promptly get booted out by somebody that knows a little bit about Visual Basic and is making scrollers and booters and all that fun stuff. But I started off with just programming, and I kind of gravitated towards figuring out how computers worked. And back in the day, they used to have the fun Trojans Back Orifice 2K, Sub 7, and I was basically playing around with those just to see how computers worked and everything, and pretty much spiraled from there.
John, how about yourself?
Yeah, sort of similar. I spent my childhood years with a old computer running BBSs and whatnot. Got me was this one time I was this co-sysop on this Wildcat BBS, and somehow the whole thing got pwned. Guy blamed me, but hey, that's life. But right there, how the hell did that shit happen? I don't know. Could I say shit?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. We're not regulated by the FCC. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Not yet.
Very good. It's too late. It's too late anyway. But yeah, it goes from there. I spent my teenage years as a script kiddie, and somehow I parlayed that into a career. So hey.
Oh shit! He said fuck.
Oh
shit,
boy.
I crapped.
So what prompted? Which came first, the Bsides Connecticut or the NESIT hackerspace?
NESIT was the first thing.
Sorry,
Bsides came probably about a year after we started NESIT up.
Gotcha. So what prompted the creation of the NESIT hackerspace?
Me and a buddy we were working at a nonprofit that was refurbishing old computers, giving it to people in need. It kind of fell through, and we kind of jumped ship. And we were talking on IRC one day how we wanted to just basically start up another one on our own. And it got into talking about a hackerspace. And we started looking around for places that were kind of cheap that we can afford, and grabbed like 3 other guys. Started off. Submitted our paperwork to the IRS to become nonprofit, and pretty much grew from there. We're in our second location now, and we've been around for about 6 years now.
So wait, did you become a nonprofit so that you could get the computers that were being given away by the other nonprofit?
Yeah, well, originally we were gonna do that and kind of do it on our own, and then as we progressed. We did a little bit less of the nonprofit type stuff and more of like the makerspacey type stuff with woodworking, electronics, 3D printing, laser cutting.
Awesome. So what kind of things go on at NESIT today?
Let's see. We as far as the 3D printing, we got all that stuff going on. Wednesday nights is our White Hat Wednesday, where we have guys come in to talk about various different things. We teach about various different topics, ranging from simple Wi-Fi cracking to setting up like a PF Sense box, and we just try to get most of the community involved. Connecticut's kind of a weird place to pull people from their basements to come join up and learn stuff. But we find that, as we're chugging along, more and more people are grabbing onto it.
What's the most interesting thing that people do with the 3D printer?
I guess if you guys know Boris, Boris
I
butt
knew
plug.
it.
We do know Boris.
I knew it because
That was our popular model. that was the most printed item at the space so far.
Wait, what was it? A Boris head, or what was it?
Yeah, Will.
Yeah, so Jason Street was going at the conferences and scanning everybody in and posting them on Thingiverse. And I thought Boris's was quite boring the way it was, so I decided to add him to a butt plug and re-upload him to Thingiverse. So if you have a 3D printer, you can check it out and download them, print them out.
Yep. So you can create your very own Boris Snyderlick butt plug.
Oh,
So you can in fact have his head up your ass.
God,
It's epic.
need a moment to recover from that. That's great. What are some of the other projects that happen? Excuse me, at NESIT.
John, you want to take this one?
Oh, all right. Well, hey, just came in yesterday, and Will's building a classroom in there, so all kinds of cool stuff happens. There's this awesome server room in there. Got about 6 billion servers and storage and whatnot donated from some company. What was it, Will?
Yeah, it was a bio. Yeah, 454 Roche. They're actually closed down now, but they had done a systems upgrade about 3 years ago, and they gave us about, I would say, 70 blade servers, a couple SnapNASs, and racks and everything else.
Wow.
Yeah, cool stuff.
So now, if I belong to the hackerspace, can I just come in and just start messing around with that stuff, or do you like allocate certain resources to different people, or how does that work?
We got a couple guys that are kind of in charge of different sections, but anybody that's a member can pretty much do mostly whatever they want there. As far as if they want to take a blade server out and throw some VMs up on it, or they want to set up a small network. As long as it's not taking up too much space at a certain area, we're usually fine with pretty much everything everybody does there.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a great opportunity for people trying to get into the field, because we always recommend that, hey, you should go, mess around with technology, have your own lab. But if you don't have the resources, is it free to join the hackerspace, or is there like a monthly fee where I can join and then go mess around with this technology?
Well, we have an open house Monday and Wednesdays at 7, where the public can just come in, check us out. The members themselves, who get like 24/7 access, we all pay $50 a month, and that goes towards paying the electric bill, the rent, and lights and alarm and all that.
That's not bad, though. I mean, if you can't afford to shell out all the money up front, you
Right.
can pay $50 a month. But it also gives you access to the community, because I'm assuming that you guys all and gals all help each other and work on projects together, right?
Yeah, that's the main thing. Is just the community of people just coming together. I mean, yeah, we can all do this in our office. We can do it in our garage or our shed, but you're not going to be there with like 20 other people, like-minded people, sharing ideas and showing what you create.
Yeah, and no, Will and John, for me not having been to NESIT, hackerspace and that type of stuff, I'm assuming there's more than just a 3D printer and some blade servers and that type of stuff. And sort of what I equate that whole maker hackerspace movement is that it's a community workshop where you can go and work on projects with folks and use the equipment that's there to work on your own projects. For someone unlike me who has a barn that has this massive space that I could do it myself, but someone that maybe can't afford to, buy a table saw and a router and all this type of stuff, and a 3D printer and a vinyl sign cutter, they can go and pay $50 a month for the space and have access to all the same gear and have someone maintain that workshop for them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of, there's full work, a wood shop, electronics shop. It's, a lot of exactly that.
So how did you guys come to create Bsides Connecticut?
For the love of it. Basically, there was nothing really around Connecticut as far as any type of InfoSec related topics. You had, I think the closest thing to us was maybe HushCon or Hope in New York, but other than that, you'd have to travel a few states over just to get something decent. So originally in 2011, we were going to start our own conference up, and found that it's really it takes a lot of effort to kind of push that stuff through. So we ended up adding on a Bsides to that in the beginning of the day, and added that before our other conference. And so we just wanted something to show the community around Connecticut that there's stuff out there. Again, Connecticut's the very weird state of we've got insurance companies and guys in InfoSec that are here, but they're never out like meeting up or hanging out or sharing ideas.
We were at a Bsides Connecticut. Was that the first one? Was it 2011?
That was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one you guys were at.
Right. Now, was that at the NESIT space, or was that somewhere else?
Yeah, it was in the same building as NESIT. You were kind of adjacent to where we are now, right down the hall.
Okay. One of the things that I think is kind of interesting, and wanted to see if you guys would comment on, it's a very interesting combination of multiple different cultures between the whole security community, maker / hacker space, and even some of the artist community, sort of
Good
all
question.
in a maker space. What is your thoughts about why some of this works so well, and why these two groups come together and have such a great community?
We're all curious.
They have synergies, Larry. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a curiosity out there for both sides of the fence. Guys in security, they want to know how things tick, how things work, and the same with makers. They want to figure out, how a 3D printer works, or how they can improve something with a 3D printer or something that's laser cut. So it's like, I think mostly it's the curiosity and the tendency to do it yourself more than let somebody do it for you.
What advice do you have for people who might be starting up their own or thinking about starting up their own hacker spaces?
That's a good question. As far as we get that a lot. I mean, in Connecticut, we were probably one of the original hacker spaces that were starting up. Everybody that came to us were just like, this is an awesome idea, but I want to do it in my town. So it kind of, being as small as Connecticut is versus the other states, we've got, I think, like 6 hacker spaces throughout the Connecticut. And I guess they would call them innovation places where, startup companies and stuff are trying to like make that whole hacker space innovation lab type of idea. But to start it up, you would have to grab onto a bunch of guys.
Wow, that's really unfortunate that he cut out right then, because he just
There's been some spaces.
Sorry.
Am I back on?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back on because it was really unfortunate because you cut out as you got to grab onto a bunch of guys. Like, so why don't you step back to there?
That's some interesting advice for people starting hackerspace as well.
And a bunch of guys, and is that working on my end yet?
That's what she said.
Sorta.
All I heard was a bunch of guys working on my end. Hello?
See, I'm dropping here. Are we back in?
I think so. Your video's reloading. No, the Jobs video's reloading. Sorry. Are you there?
Let me know when I'm set.
I think you're set now, Will.
All right, so we're back to the grabbing onto the guys.
Yes.
All right, but as far as the guys, you got to get guys that are committed and are actually going to be following through with the idea. There is a lot of places that start up, and the guys themselves they fall off. They don't follow through. There's been a couple of spaces that tried to start in the state, and they basically they had the idea of doing it, and then it just didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, so Will, I've been reading some of the stuff that's been on Make Magazine, and they've got this one series about this one makerspace. I think it's in Chicago that is getting put together. And like they actually bought a building, and they're refurbishing the building, and it's something like 60,000 square feet of former manufacturing facility. And like, that takes some commitment from a good number of people to make something like that happen and to be able to fund.
Yeah, I mean, if you're building a whole building and you're trying to reinvest as a say for a for-profit hackerspace, if you're trying to get that money back into the space, it's gonna take a while and a lot of effort from everybody involved to make that happen. They always have that old adage: if you build it, they will come. But that's not always the case. I know Chicago, for instance, they have pumping station 1, I think, out there. So if it's not I guess they would get the people that would be closer to their space that don't want to travel downtown or whatever to get to the other space. That's the only, or if they have, better offerings for as far as tools or the kind of people that are involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
So start small, basically, is your advice.
Yeah, start small. I mean, when we got our space, our original space, our rent was pretty cheap. It was 2,000 square feet. We paid like $400 a month. So we weren't really like, going into debt trying to start it up. The other spaces that tried to do that, they fell after like the first or second month because they didn't have the people to invest the time and money into paying the rent and keeping it afloat.
Gotcha.
More hackerspace questions, Larry?
Well, I mean, I have some.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, so so I live in South Carolina. We're equally small, and we have people all around the state doing these. What I've noticed is there doesn't seem to be like an association of makerspaces, and yet every time I've talked to somebody in the makerspace community, they seem to do something related to security. They're comfortable around computers and programming, which I know seems like a natural thing, but then they have all these other types of activities. And when I keep looking at this fusion of how do we bring education and the community together, it seems to me makerspaces are the right avenue for that. So the two questions that I'd love to hear you guys wax poetic on, and it needs to be in iambic pentameter if possible, is the ability to work with the community and education. But also, how do we start stitching ourselves together, even loosely? Like I don't like formalities, but gosh, it just seems like there's an opportunity. So is it brewing? Did we miss it? Am I misinterpreting it?
John, you want to go first?
Oh yeah, thanks for that.
Bus under it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess from what I interpret, heck, I've not been associated with NESIT for very long. And just to correct you, Paul, at the intro, I was definitely not one of the founders. But I think at some level, there's competition because you got to get people to come in and work your space. At the other level, like you say, there is the opportunity for collaboration and to work on things together. But I would think the problem is just like everything. You can be in the same office and not collaborate because you're in your own worlds. But I don't have any good suggestion as far as how to bring people together, but there we go. That's what happens when you put me first.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the people involved in there, you get a lot of like alpha male type of people in there where they're comfortable with their own knowledge, and you gotta kind of break them out of that shell where you say, okay, well, knowledge to what you have, and just don't kind of gloat about it that you know this and you know that. It's more of like how can I help you learn this, or how can I help you do this, or assist with that, and trying to get them to jump on projects that they wouldn't normally take on. Like for instance, I'm building out a new classroom for NESIT, and I've had guys last night that were helping put up a wall that have never really done like home construction before. So it's all about like breaking people out of that shell and getting people involved.
Yeah. Now, when you
and building and developing new skills at the same time.
right, but when you say guys and alpha male, it's not just men, right? There's women too.
No. I mean, it tends to be. I mean, with we have a good group of guys and girls, but the girls are probably like maybe 8% of what we have. It's not because it's like a pound your chest all male type of thing. It's just we do offer. We have sewing machines there. We have stuff that e-textile stuff that people would like.
Did he really just say that?
Did you see that? Did you see that? Yeah.
And Will, to help bail you out, you also have hammers and saws and all that stuff that women like.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
And
I was nice CNC there.
No, I was getting to that. I was going to say that first, and then I was going to allude to. But yeah, we do have one girl that is really awesome at woodworking. She pretty much blows every other guy away as far as what she knows for skills for making stuff. She has her own book out. But as far as like right now, it's kind of dominating with the guys in it, but we try to involve women in it. But it's hard to say like, hey, you're in this old scary factory, just come in here and down this long dark hallway and hang out and make some stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't appeal to a lot of people, in that aspect. But we do try to involve all different types of ideas and classes. Everything from making beer to making soap to everything. And it's however those people come on and join on to the class. If they say, hey, this is really awesome, they stick around. So that's how we got most of the people on. But that, I mean, in the aspect of pounding the chest stuff, it's like I said, it's male dominated in most of the spaces that I've seen. I don't know, how we can turn that around and make it a little better, but that's the way it is.
There's a lot of groups trying to get more women involved with our field, and I think some of it stems from, for whatever reason, men traditionally have been forced into that engineering kind of role,
right?
And women haven't, and we need to work to change that, obviously. And this is a great opportunity for all people, regardless of sex, regardless of race, religion. Yeah, exactly. To get involved and learn stuff, and it's a low buy-in, right? But it seems like a really high return, right? Even if I pay my $50 a month, I'm getting an awesome experience, and I think it can be a great thing for getting all kinds of people, new people, into our field.
And in all the fields, and I think this is what for me. This is it's a great equalizer, and from having experience with our hacker maker space / artist commune type thing here in Providence, it's a great equalizer in that everybody's there to accomplish a task and do something, and it doesn't matter whether you're a dog on the internet or you're
it's hacking. It's hacking too. Yeah. I mean, when we talk about woodworking and stuff, like Josh Wright, I think first said it to me like I totally hack my house, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I do the same thing, right? Yeah. The wife is like, well, I kind of want that. I'm like, yeah, I might be able to hack something together, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
It's like my Facebook post from last night was like 5 of the recent projects that I've worked on, and none of them involved technology aside from figuring out an angle. And it was all throwing sawdust.
Right. That's a really good point, guys. Because I'm doing that all the time. On the weekends, I actually tend to avoid touching technology, and I'm always building shit and hacking stuff together. So hacking is a much broader, encompassing term, and people kind of forget that. They're always associating it with purely technology, and it's not really that way all the time.
And I'm going to maybe put some words in the mouth of the guys over NESIT and such. But, exactly, hacking is not just about the technology. It's about all of the other stuff. And, it's not necessarily about us computer hackers breaking stuff, but I think many of us are looking to help build something, and that the hacker/makerspace is a great for a building opportunity, but you've got to deconstruct to learn how to build.
So tell me about some of the what things we can expect from Bsides Connecticut this year. What are some of the talks and topics and things happening at Bsides Connecticut this year?
So far we have the call for papers open. We've had a few good submissions. We haven't actually picked who we're going to get yet, but it's going to be like basically your run-of-the-mill Bsides conference. We're going to have the speakers. We're going to probably have some lightning talks. John's going to be setting up the capture the flag. That's going to be going on throughout the day. It's as far as the talks. We just haven't hammered that down yet. We've got about 2 more weeks before we're actually going to make the decision.
Awesome.
Very nice. So CFP Connecticut for Bsides Connecticut is still open?
Yeah, it's still open until the 19th.
And where can folks submit?
You can either go to the wiki that's on the show notes, or you can you can submit it to bsides@nesit.org. And just put your name, information, the talk topic, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, bsidesct.org, and I'll take you right there.
Excellent.
So I want to ask John and Will both some more pointed questions, and you both can feel free to chime in, obviously. But John, in your current role, working for a financial organization, what keeps you up at night? I mean, obviously you're very involved in the community and aware of a lot of the risks and threats out there. What keeps you up at night in your current role?
Yeah, well, primarily what I don't know keeps me up at night. The basics, always the basics. You can keep hammering the basics, but they keep effing up. So, yeah,
It's interesting to hear you say that, because it's not the typical answer, right? Because a lot of people that I speak with are like, well, don't tell me too much, because then I'll have to go fix it, right? But it's always what you don't know that came back to bite you. And I'd like to see people be more aggressive in finding out what they don't know about their own networks and systems. Sorry, that wasn't a question. That was more of a statement.
And so I'm going to sort of throw that to Will a little bit too, but with a little bit different spin. So, Will, I know that some of your background has been working with the public and helping fix all of their stuff and some of that donation type stuff. Based on some of your past experience, how do you feel the public is with dealing with technology and wanting to be secure?
Yeah, I mean, you would think, going into it that people have some sort of knowledge of security, and dealing with them on the IT side and the pen testing side. You go to find that they're very poor. It's not just that it's convenience as far as the knowledge of security. There's people that don't want 2-factor authentication because now they got to look at their phone in addition to logging in, where they can just log in and get going. Or they don't know how to do password policies, where they're trying to just come up with like their partner's name and a number and an exclamation point as their password, instead of like a 20-character password that's a sentence that would be familiar to them. Or the old adage of writing their passwords and sticking it to their monitor underneath their keyboard. As far as security, people click on a lot of stuff. They take stuff at face value, such as like phishing emails. They're ready to click on it if they think it's from someone that they know, and they're wondering why this attachment in a zip file is they're clicking it and nothing's happening. They just keep on clicking it. That's kind of the reason why I got into getting back into information security, is because of all these people that aren't doing it right. And it's just getting worse and worse, people stealing money and everything else. So, that's one of the reasons why I like the hackerspace, where I can give that knowledge to the public, during our classes, and people can come in and learn, about different aspects. I mean, you're not going to know about security until you learn how to break security.
Now, Will, you're not the first guest on the show that's had a run-in with the authorities. And while I don't want to focus on that, I want you to briefly discuss what happened in whatever capacity that you're comfortable. But I want people to learn from it, and I want your advice on how people should behave today in terms of avoiding such conflicts.
Yeah, I mean, back 15 years ago, it was a little more of the Wild West, where people were screwing around with stuff before they learned how to save for bug bounties, making money from bug bounties. We were the ones that were handing.
He just freezes. Huh?
Out,
there it is.
With the different crowds, and paid my price for it. But once I got through that, I got back into the industry to kind of share my knowledge instead of using it for fun times.
So, what advice do you have for people today that might be in the situation where they have access to information or other things, or at that crossroads where they can kind of flirt with the law, or go to the dark side or the light side. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's still a double-edged sword. You got in the news recently the guy that had figured out how to break into I think it's some doctor
dental. It was
software.
Dental software. Yeah.
And he tried to let them know that, hey, you've got this open FTP up here, and you've got hard-coded passwords, and they congratulated him by kicking down his door pretty much, and paying him a visit and taking all his equipment. So it's almost like a finesse of trying to deal with these customers, where you don't scare them and you don't sound like you're blackmailing them to let them know that, hey, you've got this vulnerability and I can show you how to fix it. And it's got to be presented in a way where they don't feel threatened. So, I mean, people nowadays, they're pushing it as the bug bounties. Okay, well, I'll tell Facebook that I found, a cross-site script that let me do this, and this on their site. Let me just submit the bug bounty instead of just sending it to my friend in IRC and abusing it that way.
So, John, I want to switch back to you. Do you engage in pen testing for your current organization, and why or why not, and what's the value?
So I guess first, let me ask what you mean by that. Do I perform them, or do we have them?
Oh, do you have them? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. So I think today pretty much any organization that is regulated by anybody is required to have pen tests. So yes, we have them. Why? Well, two reasons. A, because regulators say we have to. Mm-hmm. And B, if they're done correctly, there's value in it, right? Because you can't hire every great mind in the world to work for your organization. So the benefit is, if you get a good pen test, you're renting a good mind who can come and think about your network in a way that you haven't thought about it. Which for me, SOC manager, that's good. I like that. Let's put a different spin on it.
How do you define a good pen test?
Well, I guess I would define it as not a vulnerability assessment, right? I mean, we do those ourselves all the time. That's great. But somebody who's going to take the threads that you're going to find through recon and whatnot, and they're going to dig into them, and they're going to find a way to apply them in the context of our vertical and how we might operate.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I wish more people in your position would think that way about. I mean, so many people do, but so many people are like, "Wait, we don't do a phone scan. What's that?" Like, no, you're not.
We do a pen test. We've got this thing that does NESIS.
Right.
No, we take the results. We read them, and we don't do anything about it.
Well, I have a follow-on question. In that context, John, at Black Girls, just to be a shill for a minute, we like to think we do things right. We like to think we do things right and do things the right way. But what advice do you have for others in the industry that are consumers of penetration tests on how to kind of sort out the good from the pen test puppy mills, as we like to say.
Well, this is, I really don't have a good answer for that, because I think that from the same exact mill, you could get a good one or you could get a vulnerability assessment. It all just depends, right? Yeah, I guess it's all in your scoping, what you demand.
All right, well, that's fair enough. Scoping, I think, nails it. It's what you're asking for. So I think that's a pretty good answer in and of itself.
So,
John,
go ahead. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, I was just going to say, so, guys, I always come at this from a leadership perspective. So I've noticed something.
No, you, Michael, get out.
Right?
Oh, wait, let me guess what question he's going to ask next.
No, I'm not.
Can we define what problem we're trying to solve?
How tall do you have to be to ride the ride?
I put you guys to pieces, because those are my two favorite questions.
Oh, we know.
Direction, though. I've been fascinated lately with mindset, and what I've picked up, John, in you is that you have a very abundance mindset. You're not negative. You're not closed off to the world. It's not scarcity. You're interested in the things that you don't know. You're willing to say, yeah, you know what, they might suck, but they might be good. It depends on how you coach them. Is that something you were born? How do you have that sort of positive? This is good. I like it. I think people can learn from that. There's something in your general approach that I think is important, and I wanted to both compliment you on that and amplify it. But where did that come from? I mean, you've been in security long enough to be jaded and pissed off like everybody else. So why?
I can't answer that.
These are not good answers. That's not a leadership answer.
Yeah, but a leadership answer. Okay, let me come up with some kind of one line. Yeah,
no, that's
we
bullshit.
Can put it on bumper sticker.
Real answer. All right, then take it as a compliment. And I guess if you're listening, pay attention. I mean, John doesn't look at stuff. I haven't heard a negative thing except for I don't have an answer. But that's not bad. That's leadership. At least you're admitting you don't have an answer. That's good, I guess. I'm still waiting for a poetic response.
So, I'll throw this question out to both Will and John, and I want to see it from both of your perspectives, from defender and from the attacker perspective. You know, which technologies are you most concerned about, or in your case, Will, most excited about securing or attacking from the following list? Is it mobile, cloud, or IoT?
You want it first, John, or me?
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, I deal with this all the time. So
go ahead, John.
I've got some thoughts. Yeah, so for me, it's mobile, quite honestly. I guess when I say mobile, I mean mobility. It's everything. It's people using their own devices. It's all this. Because, I mean, quite frankly, I think that probably most organizations are not ready for it. Not ready for it, architecturally, not ready for it in understanding what it means. There's a lot of real problems that it brings that technology is not necessarily ready to solve for us all the time. Cloud would be my number 2, but I'm not going to get into that.
That's fine. No, I agree with the mobility aspect. As we, in our other show, Enterprise Security Weekly, we talk about enterprise security solutions, and it's interesting how when you look at all of the solutions, all of the new products, all of the new features of the existing products, and you think about how they play into the mobility, you immediately start to, go to endpoint agents. And that's just like we could do a whole podcast on endpoint agents and the different agents and how you choose and how many you run, and are there any computing cycles left over after you're done installing all the really cool and interesting agents out there. But I think that's a problem that we're going to continue to have for some time, and I don't know what the end game is there for the endpoint. Will, when you're looking at mobile, cloud, or IoT, what makes you excited when you think about breaking into networks?
I guess the mobile is the easiest to conquer because they're bringing their stuff on the outside and bringing stuff home, and they're not paying attention as much as they would be on their work network. The cloud, it's just somebody else's computer you're storing stuff on. So I've dealt with cloud companies that are very poorly executed as far as security and how they have everything set up. I was just finishing up a pen test about a few weeks ago with a pretty big company, and it was really it was really bad how they had everything set up. As far as their customer data, they have over 8,000 customers, and even their employees on the inside were not using best practices to secure data on their Internet of Things. That's a whole another shit show, I guess.
Well, hold on. Let's go back to the cloud for a second. Well, you say the best practices, right? Do you believe that organizations have tools that they need to be able to manage their data and their infrastructure in the cloud and secure it, and they're just not using it? Or are we still waiting for some of these security management technologies to catch up?
I mean, there's some technology out there that are good to go, but as far as implementing them on the network, segmenting, different devices, and again, insider stuff, the employees that they had, that had access to their storage, pretty much it was poorly concepted with the company. But yeah, I mean, the technology is there to get stuff safe, to get it up to speed. But as far as implementing it, they're going by the seat of their pants, and they're not really stepping back to look. They're just pushing out more and more. Okay, how can we get more customers? Not stepping back and saying, how can we protect these customers? Mm.
Yeah, I almost think that when we talk about cloud, some of what you were hinting towards, Will, is it's going to come full circle, and security is going to be what mainframe people think is security. It's all about IT controls and compliance and user authentication and authorization and what people have access to, because that's what the cloud does, right? It moves security into that realm where, okay, the infrastructure hopefully is taken care of for us, so now we just got to worry about what users have access to and who has access to what.
Yeah, they're just thinking, okay, we got to throw out a couple more hard drives to store stuff, but they're not looking into like, okay, well, I have this sitting in the UK now, and how am I protecting this from the different aspects of the laws over there, and the different people that have their hands on, their ISP and everything else. And then finally, the Internet of Things. Again, it's a shit show. I like doing embedded devices, and a lot of people that are designing, the internet connected teapot and stuff like that. They're just getting it out there so it works. Okay, it connected to the Wi-Fi, and that it works, and let's just ship it. They're not looking into, okay, well, somebody can connect to this, or they can drop the connection, and or where they're storing the passwords in the device. There's ways to pull that out of there. But for the most part, it's the old adage of if it works, don't touch it.
You can tell Will's old school because you referred to IoT as
embedded devices. Yeah.
Yep.
So, gentlemen, are you ready to play 5 Questions with Security Weekly?
Go ahead.
Alrighty.
Is this career compromising?
Potentially.
Only if you want it to be.
Yeah, the only acceptable answer is yes.
That's
I'm
right.
Ready.
So I'll start with Will, then I'll go to John with the same question. Will, 3 words to describe yourself.
I don't know.
John, 3 words to describe yourself.
Hold on, we got to go back. That's a cop out. What is that?
It was 3 words.
I'll tell you what. I discussed this earlier, and it's embarrassing. But the first 3 words that popped into my head were a fuzzy bunny samurai.
Will, if you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
A spoon.
John?
There is no spoon.
I'm going to go with a garrote, if I pronounce that right.
Will, if you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
It would be a love story. It would be called Kiss My Ass.
Yes. John, you have to follow that up.
Wow, it's impossible. I didn't have a good one to start with. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. That'd be my title.
Will, in the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
I think I would go first. It's all about the placement of the thumb and commandeering the whole thing.
Placement of the thumb. You sound like you've played before. John, in the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
I think I'd have to go second because as a Blues teamer, I don't initiate contact.
Right. And it's all about placement of the thumb.
That's right. I love that. Well, it's awesome.
I'm kind of stuck on that.
So you play this game too, John.
That's right. Larry wrote this article on the Ask Grabby Grabby website about thumb placement. So, Will,
What a great blog entry.
Will, choose 2 celebrities to be your parents.
Alive, dead, fictional, or otherwise.
Let's see. I would say Mila Kunis would be prime choice, and her life partner would be Tina Fey.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. All right.
Tina Fey. That's a good choice. Good choice. John, 2 celebrities to be your parents.
All right, I'm going to go with Rick Moranis, and I probably wouldn't have a mom.
There you go.
Well, so wait, so Rick Moranis just asexually reproduced?
Well, he can shrink people, so he can probably
exactly. Honey, he shrunk himself.
That has got to be the most badass answer we've had. Rick Moranis asexually reproduced.
I think he's
Take off, you hoser, eh? That's your money.
I mean, I think John is like free association thinking, like way out of the box, man. I mean, that is fantastic. I love it.
All I can say is, how has no one registered AskGrabbyGrabby.com
You
yet?
better register it right now.
Go ahead.
Now you got to register it.
Now you put it out there.
Will and John, thank you very much for appearing on Security Weekly. Everyone can go to bsidesct.org, get all the information about Bsides Connecticut. What's the date on that conference, guys?
July 16th.
July 16th.
July 16th. Thanks, everyone. We'll be right back.